It's me again. Today I'm going to do a review of the Blueskysea camera system for your motorcycle. I am not a professional reviewer. There's no unboxing video. I already did a little video on the install. It's on the channel. I'll try to put a link down below if I remember. Also, up in the corner, I will try to put a little video running of me making this mount for the front camera and taking it off of that point right there. I will talk about why during the video. So if you see that running in the corner, good. If not, I either couldn't do it or I forgot. But it's pretty simple. If you're a tinkerer, you already know how I did it. So I like cameras. I like dual cameras on my Jeep and my car. I have dual cameras. On my old Jeep, I used to have dual cameras. I like having dual cameras front and back. And on my bike, I wanted a camera on the bike that I didn't have to put on, take off, and take the card out every time to save the video, which is what I had to do with my GoPro. I have my GoPro mounted here. Every time I got where I was going, I have to take it off, charge it, download the video, put it back on. I don't like doing that. So this is... if you saw my install video, this is hooked straight up to the battery. Comes on or off with me. It does not come on and off with the motorcycle. So, all right. I bought it on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. It is not an affiliate link. I don't monetize this crap. I don't monetize my YouTube. I think the last time I checked, I had 11 total followers. And you're just not going to monetize on 11 followers. So I'm going to sit down and talk a little bit. And, well, I'm not going to sit down. So I bought it. I believe it was about $86 or $87 US delivered to the door. The install recap, I showed you everything. What I didn't show you is that on the camera mounts, these little pieces of metal, they have an adhesive on them. It's not good. It is not permanent. They have little screws. You have to use the screws to put this on. I also used contact cement, some Weldwood contact cement, this stuff here. Weldwood contact cement. This stuff is great for mounting things to vehicles because it stays. I've mounted stuff on the outside of a Jeep and it stayed off-roading and everything. So I did that here. You put the screws in and you can adjust the camera, but the main thing is getting it mounted on a good solid spot and then gluing it on and then screwing it on. The rear camera is mounted well. It does not vibrate very much. This piece is pretty solid. There's a little vibration because it's KLR 650. So you have to glue those on or screw, or make your own mounts, which I did up front. I'll show you that in a little bit. One thing and it's in the books, and it's pretty clear. The camera's rear and front are color coded. I think they're blue and green, with the exception of the fact that the blue camera is the rear camera, the green camera is the front camera, and I installed them opposite. So whenever I look at the memory, take the memory card out and look at it, the rear videos are the front and the front videos are the rear. Strangely enough, when I turn the unit on, the default view is out the front, which you can't see very well, but it's out front, see? And I don't know why, because that's actually the rear camera, and it's saved on the file as the rear camera. But pay attention to the instructions. I did and didn't at the same time, so it's a little confusing when you start. Setting the time. I don't know how much of this we're going to be able to see because of the lighting. Setting the time is goofy. You have to stop the recording. All the menu items are pretty self-explanatory as to what they do. It's not a problem. But when you set the time here. So Set the time. It's set. But then you have to set your time zone, which means you have to know where you are in relation to GMT. In America, we do the daylight saving time, change time twice a year. So it took me several tries to get it right, because once you set the camera, then you go set the GMT, changes the camera. And it'll change it 2 or 3 times if you get it wrong 2 or 3 different ways. So it's a little goofy sometimes. So when you set the time, be very careful. It's not that great. It has Wi-Fi, so that you can use Wi-Fi to get to your phone. And I will change cameras now to show that to you. All right, it is the RoadCam app. Google Store, I assume it's also on iTunes, or the Apple Store, or whatever you call it. So with the camera on, and it's on, go into your settings and turn on your Wi-Fi. Turn on your Wi-Fi, and you will have the network pop up. It's the camera network, Wi-Fi camera. There we go. So it's connecting. It will connect. There's obviously not going to be internet, so that's fine. So then you go to the cam, and it will eventually get to you. I say eventually because this Wi-Fi is the slowest Wi-Fi on the market. I really do believe it's the slowest out there. Still waiting. Okay, I got tired of waiting, so I went and did it. Now it's buffering. Now you actually have a live view of the camera. I can't walk over and show you the live view of the camera, because then you won't be able to see this in this camera, this phone in this camera. So it's a live view. You can record on your phone as it records on the bike. I do not know if it does the 5-minute loop, like you said, like on the bike. It's got 1, 5, and 10-minute loop settings. So I don't know if it does it the same loop, but it will record whatever's on there. You can also take a photo. You can also, supposedly, change to the rear camera of the bike. This might be handy if you actually want to have a screen big enough to look at while you ride for a rear view. I don't personally look out the rear view of my bike when I'm riding. I'm too focused on what's up front. So, go to video. These are the videos that are stored on the bike, including the one that is recording now. See the ones I recorded earlier in this section. That 5-minute loop, they're all 432 megabytes. Not a big deal, except that the download speed is real time. If you want to download one of these videos from the camera to your phone, it's a real time download. That's a pain in the ass. It's quicker if you want to have it saved, it's quicker to take the card out, and I'll show you how to do that. So if you have emergency videos, they will also be saved. Those will be saved if you have your G sensor on or something, and something hits the bike, and then it'll save already. You can't see them well, up and down buttons, menu button and power button. If you do the up and down buttons, okay, that's weird. I don't know why it did that. That's the rear view. That's front with the rear inset, although the camera on my bike. Then side by side. It's not recording on that point of view, by the way. It's recording normally. It's just compressed to be on the screen. And then back to there, and then back to there. So you have 4 settings. The GPS does work. I'm indoors, and it's tagging on 15 satellites. It does not give you a map. It's not a GPS unit, but it has a GPS sensor that you have to mount outside the vehicle. They say to put it flat. Of course, on the bike, I don't have anywhere flat to put it, so I put it here, and it works really well. ran the wires in, tucked them back, and tied them off, and it's all good. There's plenty of cabling to do just about anything you want. One thing I don't like is the cameras have a short cable with the long. This is straight to the unit from the camera. There is an extension you can get, so when you plug in the rear camera, run it all the way up here to this pigtail, and it works just fine. The GPS does not have the extension. You have to deal with 10 feet or whatever of cable. Well, I've got my unit here, my GPS here, so this is all tied up and bundled up under here, and I don't like that. It's not in the way, it's just a nuisance. It comes with black zip ties. You'll go through those pretty quick, so buy some more if you're going to be doing any moving or rerouting, so that it looks nice and clean. Now, on the KLR, vibration is an issue. If you ride a KLR 650, you know this. If you don't, well, now you do. Vibration to the point where your hands are numb sometimes if you're not geared up properly. It's nice and massaging on your nether bits when you're riding long rides, but other than that, it's not too great. When I first mounted the camera, I mounted it right in there. You can see that piece of plastic is attached on the sides. It is not attached under the front. So that piece of plastic vibrates more than anything else on this motorcycle. I did not take that into account when I mounted the camera there. It's a perfect mounting point. It's protected from debris. It looks right out. You can see the Kawasaki, but it looks right out. But the vibration is so bad that it's a blurry picture most of the time. Was not good. It didn't get a license plate. You could see a car, but that was about it. It was really, really bad. So I fabbed this up today. I looked and looked and looked and could not find what they call a retainer clamp, which is a round piece of metal with two flanges to bolt. So I had some strapping tape at home, metal strapping tape. So I made one. Made one of my own so I could put it on my articulated mount. I will put the link to that on Amazon, the Amazon link to that down below, and put it up here so hopefully it won't vibrate as much. I know it won't vibrate as much, but I don't know how much it'll vibrate. I may end up having to move this rig down to the handlebar. I hope not. I like this up here. I like the way it looks. I'm not too keen on the silver, but that's what it is. Getting the card out. Getting the card out requires you to go to the side, which you can't see. There's no instructions. You have to figure this out on your own to open this out. Then you either need really, really long fingernails or a screwdriver of some kind to get the card out from that little slot down there in the bottom. And so I just bought a 128 gig card, which is what it says is its maximum capability of carrying, and put it in so it can loop. And that way I'll only take it out if something happens that I want to get off of the video card or off of the memory card. You can set to, let's get back down here. You have to hit the power button to turn off the recording. Then you hit menu. There are resolution options of exactly one. Loop recording has off where it just records and fills up the card and stops. 1 minute short clips, 5 minute clips, or 10-minute clips. I choose 5 just for my own preferences. Exposure is automatic. I've set on mine on 0. Audio recording is off on mine. You turn it on if you want. It's a loud motorcycle out in the wind. I don't want the microphone going. Date stamp is to put that on the video. G-sensor is, as I said, that if there's a shock while you're recording, it locks the video. On the KLR 650, you cannot put that on at all. It won't record. It screws it up completely. Parking guard, I have it on again. I haven't hit it hard enough to activate it. I don't know what after pulling the mirror means. I have no clue what that is. So I'm leaving it like it is. I'm not, this is English, bad English, the original like or the mirror. I have no clue. I think it is reversing the rear camera, but I don't know that. You know, swapping it left to right, flipping it. I don't know, and the instructions do not say. The instructions are horrible on this thing. And that's it for the video settings. On the settings, we have the LCD brightness, and I actually don't even know what mine's on. Oh, that's the LCA brightness, is the LCD timeout, when you're riding. So when you're riding, it's recording, it shows the screen, and I'll show you that in a minute. Frequency is 50 or 60 hertz. Language, obviously. Date and time, obviously. Beep sound, I have mine on. Wi-Fi, you can turn it on, leave it off. I leave mine on just because it's powered off the bike, so it's not going to run anything down. GPS speed watermark you can put on, and I have it on, so that theoretically your recordings will have your speed on it. If you're going to be stupid, turn this off. Time zone settings, I explained, it's goofy. Speed units, miles or kilometers per hour. Default settings resets everything default. Format the card, obviously, and the version information. Pretty self-explanatory menu items. I'll show you the timeout when what I was talking about. The screen will go off. That's really about it. All in all, it's a good setup. It's rated as waterproof. It's not submersible. But like I said on the install video, if the bike is so far underwater that the camera unit on the handlebars is underwater, I'm not worried about the camera. It can burn up for all I care at that point. It'll be good with rain, especially since I try to avoid riding in the rain. But the cameras are waterproof, again, for everything but probably pure submersion. There's sufficient cabling to mount it on, as far as I know, any motorcycle. I had more than enough cable to mount it on the KLR 650, and the KLR 650 is a good 8-foot long bike from wheel to wheel. I didn't have any trouble. And here's your timeout. After a minute, it times out to this, where you have your speed and your date and time, and then the indication that it's plugged into the bike. Plugged in, hardwired to power. Turn it off, hold it for a couple seconds, it goes off. It's a good unit. I highly suggest it or recommend it if you are looking for a two-camera system that is affordable. Again, I believe it was $87 or $88, $86 to $88. I live in Texas, so continental United States shipping. If you live overseas or somewhere else, I have no clue what it would cost, but I'll put a link, an Amazon link, for it and my mounting system there. Again, these are not affiliate links. If you go buy this, I don't get anything out of it. Nobody has paid me for this. I bought this unit. I put it in myself. I'm very pleased with it. I highly recommend it if you're on a budget. There are much more expensive units, $200-300 units. They may be better. They may not. I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know if they're better or not. The two I have in my vehicles, my Jeep and my car, are different. They mount on the rearview mirror and they're two camera. They don't sell those anymore, so it's not the same brand. Those are Van Top. I highly recommend those if you can find them, but I don't think they have them anymore. So, mounting this one was this little side note. Mounting this here is a little goofy because you do catch this in the video, but it's not enough. You're not looking up here. You want the vehicles behind you with license plates and everything. You can angle it down a little bit, but then you're looking down anyway. So whether this is blocking the view or there is no view, it doesn't matter. This is really the only place I found where I could mount it properly. I could have mounted it on the underside of this plate, but then the screws would have been interfered with anything I put on top. I didn't want to put it here and block the taillight view. I didn't want to put it off center, so not here or here. I wanted to keep it as centered as possible. I'm just that way. I know I can't do that with the front camera now, but the front camera is in a good position. If you're looking for a camera system for a bike, this is a good one. There are some out there that have a front camera that's twice the size of that. These cameras, I believe, are 3/4 of an inch across, and they look like they're about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches long. The book actually does not give measurements, although the Amazon page might. So they're not huge, and they're identical. That's why I got them swapped up when I put them in, because the only way to tell them apart is the color coding, the blue and the green. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect me at all. It's not worth it for me to take a seat and everything off and move it around. The plugs for the cameras, I'm sorry, I'm doing this stuff off the top of my head. The plugs for all the connections, the male part has an O-ring, inserts in the female part, cap comes down, threaded cap comes down, screws it on. They are notched so that they will only go in properly one way. You can force them in incorrectly. I know this because I accidentally did it with the power cord when I was first installing it, and I couldn't get it to power up. And I thought there was something wrong with the camera. And I took the plug out, noticed the notch wasn't lined up. I lined up the notch and put it in. I believe, although I have not confirmed, that the notches on all the plugs are different so that the blue will only go in the blue properly and the green will only go in the green properly, and yada, yada, yada. I do not know that for fact, but I believe it to be so. So the blue may fit in the green, but the wiring may be off by, there's 3 or 4 wires. They may be off by 1 turn. I don't know that, but I think it's that way. And I think the power, the yellow plug, has a different notch completely than the camera plug, so you can't accidentally plug a camera into the hot and, of course, burn the camera up. A nice camera, a good camera. Was not hard to install, not counting my intellectual shortcomings. I could do it on somebody else's bike now in probably 20 minutes. It'd take me as long to get the bike apart and back together as it would to put everything back in. It's not hard at all. You need to take to install it, you need to take the seat off. Install it the way I installed it. Take the seat off so you can access all the electronics. Take the rear plate off to access the rear camera mount. And on the left side of the bike, you pull the cover off to access the battery. That's all I did. I did not remove the tank. Some people say, well, pull the tank. I didn't have to pull the tank. I used a piece of thin wire. Sorry, I'm staying in my chair because I'm tired. I used a piece of thin wire. Fed it from here down here. I just set the roll up there till it came out down here, and I pulled it. And when I had a cable, the power cable and the rear camera cable, twisted up, and then I just pulled it back up, and then reached up and tucked it up out of the way and as far away from the heat of the bike as I could. And I have ridden it for a good 30-45 minute ride each way, and I've had no problem with the wires or smoking or anything. I'll test run this 2 or 3 days when it's not raining, and if it's any different, I'll give you a call. I know this rattles when you ride. I'm gonna have to tape it down or something because it's loud on the KLR, but I can deal with it. So either way, it's a good unit. So I keep remembering stuff. It actually does come with a 5-volt USB plug. You can run this off of USB. It plugs into the same power outlet as the one that goes from the battery, so you can't use both. The book recommends that you only use USB for testing, not for use. I don't know why it says that. I didn't use it at all, so it doesn't matter. The book also, though, recommends putting the unit itself somewhere inside the bike to keep it out of the weather. Of course, then they turn around and tell you that it's waterproof. So I don't know which it is. If I get caught out in the rain and it goes bad, then I know they lied. Other than that, I'm not too terribly worried about it. I say a lot, don't I? I have to cut those out, but I'm not going to. Okay, I said it before, said it again, one last time. It's a good camera. Go buy it. It really does work well. I don't have any footage to show you, but the footage is, because the front footage was all blurry from the vibrating. The footage is sufficient, but you got to pull the camera out. Pull the memory card, put it in your computer. It is a MOV file. Excuse me, a .mov file. So it's not an MP4 or an MPEG-2 or anything. .mov. So you have to convert it to play it on an Android. It won't, unless you play it through the app, it won't play on Android. You can play them on the app. You can see them on the app and play them. If you have a screen recorder on your phone, you can then record it and you don't have to do it. But then, again, that's still real time. But if you don't have a computer, you can do it on your phone, and that will solve the problem. Okay, I think we're good. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm not good at this. I don't do reviews, but I may start doing a few. I need to review my helmet because it's a good helmet that's also a piece of crap. But I'll do that at a later date. I'm not even going to bother to review the bike because the bike is awesome. There's nothing bad to say about it at all. Stock form, it's awesome for me. I don't do heavy-duty off-roading, so I don't have to have a single trail-capable bike or anything. Matter of fact, and I don't need to do wheelies. I know people do wheelies on them, but if you ever see me on a bike doing a wheelie, listen for the little child screaming in terror, because that would be me. All right. God bless. Have a good day. Thank you very much.